Why wouldn't you pay $4 for this?
Why would you expect this to be free? Is what I want to know.
Fucking comedy gold.
Hello, welcome back to the Insert Disc Podcast. My name is Robert.
I am Aaron.
And thank you for listening to episode 1 and hopefully episode 2. We are back from disaster. I thought I did not record episode 1 and was sad for a week.
Spoiler alert.
I did record it. That's smart. However, we knew that when we recorded episode 1 that we were going to talk about Black Sabbath because the next day or that day?
Next day was back to the beginning. So this episode is going to be jam-packed full of Black Sabbath.
Aaron, do you believe in God?
I feel like I want to.
How will you worship our Lord and Savior Tony Iommi then, if you don't believe in him?
I believe in Tony Iommi.
Oh, okay, all right.
I may not believe in God, but I believe in Tony Iommi.
I have thoughts. I have some. I think that might be hot takes, maybe not. So we, I think we should probably first talk about back to the beginning.
Let's do it.
We were good boys. We sat down. We watched the first, not quite half together. And then you had a thing to go do. And then we watched it together remotely. That doesn't make any sense. We watched it online.
We watched it from the comfort of our own homes.
Correct.
While we live tweeted, texted each other.
We texted each other
through the duration of the event.
Yes.
So it was like we were together.
I felt together. I felt as one.
Yeah, because when we're in the same room, we text each other anyway.
When it was being broadcast, the only thing that I think I missed was Gojira. I think I watched everything else in order.
Did you watch the replay at any point?
So no, I mean I did on YouTube, if that's what you're asking.
So the subscription to the event gave you access to the video for like another day and a half.
All right.
So I rewatched the full thing on that Sunday.
Oh, okay.
So start to finish, including a lot of the acts that we had missed. I had missed. There were some issues with the live stream that hiccuped that they remedied. But there was some definite emotion in the moment when we were watching it live.
Yeah.
And then getting to have a little bit of distance from it and watch it again a second time, kind of knowing what was coming, allowed me to appreciate it with a little less apprehension.
Mm-hmm.
Still got chock full of feels at the end watching. I don't want to jump to the
straight to the end.
That those moments were just as heavy, but just kind of knowing kind of what to expect just kind of allowed a little bit more freedom to
that makes sense.
Enjoy it as a fan, including the bands that I may not have been.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I had no exposure to. If I look down the list. Opened up with Mastodon. They're kind of like a guilty pleasure. I kind of like them. Like I definitely Blood and Thunder stuff, and even I don't know. It's a love-hate relationship in terms of there is songs I really really like, and then there are songs I just don't particularly care for. It's not my cup of tea. I skip. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll listen, skip that song. But definitely some thongs.
I like some thongs too.
What is it? Cisco? Zoom in my boom boom.
No, that's Rex and Effect.
Okay.
That's Rump Shaker, Rex and Effect. All I want to do is zoom. Just shake your rump. You're thinking what
the thong song?
Isn't that the same? The reference? No. Rump Shaker, and Thong Song are two completely different anthems, two completely different artists, two completely different.
I stand corrected.
Times during the club. Okay, so like Thong Song comes on a little bit earlier when you've only had a couple of drinks and you're in a good time.
Right.
Rump Shaker comes on when it's almost last call and you're ready to fuck.
Yeah, that's right. When it's dirty time.
Yes.
Nasty time.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, the music video for Rump Shaker by Rex and Effect was the moment that I think I rocketed into adolescence.
There's a tie-in to Mastodon. You've seen the one Mastodon video that's got people from Atlanta dancing in it. Have you seen that video?
I don't think so.
You'll have to look it up.
I don't. So I have enjoyed some of Mastodon's music. The Hunter record is the only one that I really kind of vibe with from start to finish. One of their not recent but not early stuff.
Okay.
I miss the Mastodon train.
Yeah.
And
I'm with you. Like the songs that I like, it's ones that have bubbled up out of the original release schedule. I was not on that train.
Yeah.
It's only in after like, oh, I really like that. Like the song will come on in a radio station, not a radio station, but like in my playlist. And I'll go, oh, I actually kind of like that song. I did not expect to, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
The first time I heard Mastodon, I checked out, it was either Remission or Blood and Thunder on CD from the Orange County Public Library when you could do that kind of stuff. So shout out to the Orange County Public Library because they were my source for pretty much my entire music collection for a period because you could just burn that shit. On your
I don't
CDR.
think Seminole County does that.
I don't even know if they still do physical media anyway, but a lot of the stuff that was coming up, so Mastodon, Suicide Silence, Shadows Fall, like for some reason the downtown library had all of that on CD that you could check out.
There was somebody that was on staff over there.
So and yeah, I mean it was fine, but it just never really clicked.
Yeah. There's a lot of bands on this roster where that's the case for me.
So
by roster I mean
that
were on the Back to Beginning event.
I wrote a pretty reactionary blog post on the website about the lineup and some of the shenanigans that have posted on just either complaints about the lineup or just grievances with some of the performances, but it made sense to me. Like for an event of this scale with 44,000 people in attendance at Villa Park, and I think there was something like 5.8 million people.
It's awesome
on the live stream.
Yeah,
it's like the population of Singapore,
right?
Was watching Back to the Beginning. This is a major event, right. So you need to have a decent cross section of headliner level hard rock and heavy metal artists that speak to that population.
Yeah,
right. So would I have picked all these bands? Probably not. But you know what? For curating that type of event, which I don't envy anybody involved in that, like that's a thankless process. But I get it. I understand why everybody who was there was there.
Yeah. I did read some concerns that I think have validity, but I don't know the solution, and I won't pretend, which is to say representation from other segments of geography and ethnicity, as it relates to the influence. And again, I know that is a meaningful thing. I would have no way of doing it. So like you said, congrats to, I guess, Tom Morello's guy that put all that together. What a tough job. The highlight of that to me was Steven Tyler. In terms of, like, I don't really care about Aerosmith songs. I mean, I'm a moderate fan at most. But there was something special about seeing someone who feels adjacent to it all to show respect. It would be like, I know that there were video vignettes of like Elton John and Dolly Parton, which I would have shit myself if Dolly Parton got on that stage and sang some of her songs, and I don't know, Mama, I'm Coming Home, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, like it would have been S tier level stuff to me.
You know that she did a duet with Rob Halford for her recent album. They did Jolene together. Yeah. So I think that's probably as close as we get.
That's probably as close as we get. But I hear you in terms of like, that's when I was like, oh, Steven Tyler. I would never have just thought this is so cool and adjacent to it. Because I would not have put those together.
Yeah, look, there was plenty of fan service in the lineup. There was a lot of the bands that you would expect to be at an event like this. Like seeing Steven Tyler pop up on stage was Look, Stevens had his own vocal issues. Aerosmith had to cancel their whole farewell tour because his voice is just shot after 50 years of, that after a certain point, like that doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So seeing him being able to get up on stage and reasonably service those songs, doing a whole lot of love too, right?
What was his song? I don't even remember what he sang. I was so enamored with the visual.
Yeah, it was Train Kept a Rollin', Walk This Way, and I think Whole Lot of Love.
Yeah.
And like that's like old, like I could do without ever hearing Walk This Way again, but Train Kept a Rollin', and they're definitely inspired by Zeppelin, so that was kind of cool. Yeah. But just
a Whole Lot of Love, that was the one I was thinking.
Yeah, and just the fact that he's done some pop up performances where he'll do a few songs, but it's good to see him on stage, regardless of what you think of the band's catalog. And I'll go back and revisit some of that older stuff, but. And now that's kind of, got the fire burning of, hey, is there an opportunity that Aerosmith can do, maybe not to that scale, but can Aerosmith do their own proper send off if they just do a show like that and just give the fans some closure? But like seeing Ronnie Wood from the Stones pop up, it's like
so cool.
Yeah. It's like, I've only started really getting the Stones as an old man, but
yeah.
It's Ronnie Wood. He's the coolest. He's the cool one, right?
Right.
So just kind of seeing him up there, just because he had nothing better to do on a Saturday afternoon, that was pretty cool.
Did you experience? Did you feel when you were watching it any low moments? Like, this is bad. Not bad. No. I don't mean it like, oh, he's old and he can't sing, because plenty of those. But that's not my point. My point was like, oh, this is not good. In various reasons.
No, the only thing that killed some of the momentum for me was just the breaks between the performances, watching the live stream, and just some of the repetition of the fan segments. After 10 hours, you start to see the same thing. But it's like, if we were sitting there in the audience, like we'd be twiddling our thumbs, checking our phone while they're doing set change. So like for what it was, for $40, with taxes and fees to see that event, I was more than happy, even with the performances where, he's not sounding as fresh as he used to. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah. I saw yesterday that they are going to bring this, they're going to curate this to some kind of theatrical release next year, which that's cool. Woodstock style. That's, you'll get, maybe one performance from each band, and they'll truncate that to like a 3-hour thing. That's pretty cool.
Maybe clean up the audio a little bit.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of, edits and post, but pick the best moments out of the best performances. And like, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah. I really enjoyed. They didn't really show a lot of it, and I bet there's a lot of. I bet there's a lot of it. Is a lot of the back scene.
Oh my gosh!
Behind the scenes footage of them together. Especially, it seemed like they probably had a green room photo shoot party. That party's probably not the right word, but you know what I'm saying. A gathering, and you see all the folks there together. For those photo shoots.
There was segments in between. It was towards the end of the live stream where they were showing Ross Halfin doing some of the photo shoots, and Lars Ulrich said it's like Heavy Metal Summer Camp or something like that. Or him or James did, and it was all of them just kind of milling about and mingling together and hugging and laughing, because they've all crossed paths over the last 100 years, and just being, appreciating each other as artists, but just being there as people. I love that shit.
Yeah,
I love that fly on the wall, just kind of like taking the performance out of it and just seeing them interact as peers.
Yeah.
And then the photos, and, Ozzy's in good spirits, and everybody's got smiles, and there's no egos, and they're all just happy to be there together.
Yeah. Like it felt really pure.
And that's, for me, like, that's really what it was all about. Yeah. Like, regardless of the performances or who was there or who wasn't there, like, if you need more than the final performances from Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath, you missed the point.
I did not care for the Pantera set. What's interesting is Zach sounded, it just didn't seem mixed live well or something, but later on when he's playing with Ozzy, he sounded amazing to me. And I don't know if that's a Pantera setup or config, versus the Ozzy config. I don't know, but I thought that was weird. Here's the thing. Ozzy does 4 songs, and then Black Sabbath does 4 songs. I was emotionally moved for Ozzy's 4 songs, and
Ozzy did 5 songs.
He did 5 songs?
He did 5 songs.
Ozzy's set was more emotional to me than the Black Sabbath set. I know that this is hey, Black Sabbath is done, and I also know, hey, Ozzy's really old, and we're not going to see him around that much more, kind of thing. But I was more emotionally moved by the Ozzy set and songs than I was the Black Sabbath set. Is that a hot take?
I think that's fair, because on a celebrity recognition scale, like Ozzy is a monolith.
Yeah.
Right.
So his post solo work I'm putting words in your mouth, eclipses what Black Sabbath ever did.
Black Sabbath had really only started to, I don't want to use the word zeitgeist, but the Black Sabbath was always the heavy metal band, but it's in the last 20 years, really when Ozfest, 2005-ish, when the original lineup started touring again, that was really when Sabbath on a recognition scale publicly started to get a little bit closer to where Ozzy was as a solo artist. Particularly the post-Dio years, Sabbath nobody gave a shit about Black Sabbath from 1983, 84 until on a larger scale till 92 when they reunited with Dio. The band was very much active during that time, and we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
But the Black Sabbath gets a lot of a chatter when there's talks about reuniting after the fallout with Dio, and that never happened. Then there's the Ozfest reunions, and are we going to get a new album? We got a couple songs, and then it kind of fizzles out. And then again, it wasn't until really the last 15, 20 years that it's been cool to be a Sabbath fan, and to where Sabbath and Ozzy were kind of on equal plateaus. Ozzy in the 80s, and particularly when he had the TV show, he was a genuine celebrity. He was doing shit with Miss Piggy on the Muppet Show.
You bring up a good point, because my mom knows Ozzy. My mom does not know Black Sabbath.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So and Ozzy has been much more of a public figure than Tony Geezer or Bill on a mass scale. And because of that, we've traveled those miles with him to a certain point. And we all know that he has not been well.
Yeah.
And this was his first public appearance in quite some time. There's been stuff in TMZ and the Daily Mirror where he's, been in a scooter and very frail, and he can't, his mobility is very limited. But seeing him alive in that chair was, for so many, it was, there he is, and it's, we know that he's definitely got less time on the clock than he did when he was a younger man, so it was an opportunity to say goodbye, to kind of have that closure with him, because you could have flip-flopped the order of Ozzy closing the show versus Black Sabbath, and I think a lot of the fans would have been just fine with that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I think Ozzy would not have wanted to do that, because he wouldn't be where he was in that role if it were not for the other 3 guys in the band. Yeah. So I get it. Look, I've always been a bigger Sabbath fan than I was an Ozzy fan. I think I've listened to No More Tears in its entirety maybe 2 or 3 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I definitely like Jake Lee era.
I like the Randy stuff. I like some of the Jake stuff, but I checked out after mid 80s.
Do you like Zakk Wylde stuff? Like Black Label Society?
No.
You don't like the singing? What do you like?
It's
mid.
It's just one dimensional. It doesn't get same. It's fine. It's you can put it on. It's great. I could maybe call out 2 songs that I know from their catalog. It's just never clicked.
Yeah, interesting. I think you bring up good points in terms of celebrity. I think you bring up good points that the right decision was for Black Sabbath to close the show. I think they played the right songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it was interesting hearing all of the different covers throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, oh, I know what's coming.
That was a good teaser for what you weren't going to hear them play.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Bill Ward with his shirt off.
That's where I got emotional. Yeah. Not necessarily with the shirt off, but I love Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Like I am a fan of the entirety of their life cycle, from Birmingham in the late 60s through the lean years, through the weird stuff, through the closure from a few weeks ago. And like I saw Sabbath on the 13 tour where Tommy Clufetos did a fine job doing his best Bill Ward impersonation. Mm-hmm. But, you know, and it was a great set, great show. Didn't feel complete, right? And anybody that saw the end tour, which was supposed to be their farewell, and with the same lineup, you know, Bill Ward is a very important part of Black Sabbath. There's some great stuff on YouTube I watched the other day on Drumeo, just about the way he plays as a performer and how that guided so much of those early Sabbath compositions, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that they were able to cut out all the bullshit and to reunite just as four friends that as kids in middle of fucking nowhere Birmingham, you know, created this entire ecosystem that we're all so grateful for, were able to come back together and play those four songs. If they never talk to each other again, that's fine. But we had that moment. I had that moment. When Bill Ward showed up on stage, I got choked up.
It's interesting because you made mention of Birmingham being, you know, a nothing place. And I watched a lot of the vlogs surrounding that on YouTube, and it was really great to see people's reaction in that city, which seemed to be alive with Black Sabbath. Like, it was just everyone alive in that city that day was there for Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see that spot that was a no place being a someplace. It was really cool that they chose that to do that. And then I also read, I don't know if I linked it or you linked it from your article. I guess the Children's Hospital didn't even know they were going to receive something from them.
Yeah.
Like until like the day of or something. They're like, oh my God. But how cool is that?
We haven't even talked about that. So beyond just the amazing fan service and a pretty stellar, you know, single day festival, single stage, single day festival. Like, think how hard that is to pull off with all those egos. $200 million ish in charity.
Yeah. Awesome.
Fuck all. Like, come on. That's amazing.
Speaking of which, did you see the news? This is a side tangent. I may cut this out. That stage that burned down, that Metallica had their 72 Seasons tour rig in storage for the EDM thing. Like I can't think of the name, but this huge fire burnt the stage down for this huge festival. And they said, no, use our shit. And they airlifted all their stage shit out. And so that the festival could continue for this EDM thing over in Europe. That Metallica was like, yeah, I'll use it.
Look, we can do a whole other episode on just how gracious and magnanimous Metallica are, and are truly the heirs to the house that Black Sabbath built.
Yeah.
Look, I'm wearing my Cliff Burton t-shirt today, just you know, out of sheer coincidence. But you know, there are parts of their career and their story that I'm not great with, but I'll never say anything negative against them.
Yeah.
I mean, so
that was cool. Okay, was there any other thoughts or highlights on Back to the Beginning?
I enjoyed it. I got everything I wanted out of it. The one thing that, look, I have a whole new respect for Nuno Bettencourt.
Yes,
like
Youngblood.
Just a fantastic event. I got everything I wanted out of it. I thought it was kind of weird that Anthrax only got 2 songs. Like.
Well, was he playing? Yeah, and they were not my favorite songs.
Yeah, it's like, you know, what other than just to watch the show, like it seems like a lot of work to make the trip for.
Well, I was trying to look. Was Scott Ian playing in any of the other supergroup sets? Maybe he just was up there a lot.
I don't recall, not. But yeah, it just.
Well, Frank Bello was a couple of times. Oh yeah, Frank was out there a lot.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that was it. It was like, oh man, I don't want to do all this.
Maybe I don't know. That's my hot take. It's like, well, were you going for the frequent flyer miles? Like I don't know. It seems like a lot of work for Indians in a.
I had heard it was going to go bad. It went great. It was awesome.
I got everything I wanted out of it.
It was awesome. It was awesome. So we decided we were going to pick two and two. So 4 albums that we're going to go and talk about Black Sabbath. I say we go chronologically.
Go for it.
So I picked Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath song. No, just kidding. So the album Black Sabbath. Do you remember when you first heard Black Sabbath? Your introduction?
I do.
Oh, tell me.
I want to say it was from my brother.
Okay.
Who had We Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll, the compilation.
Okay, yeah.
And I was always passively aware of Iron Man and Paranoid and the hits. The first time I heard Black Sabbath, 1988.
Okay.
Headless Cross.
Okay. Interesting. All right, we'll get into that. Right?
Yep.
You're going to talk about that.
Yep.
Okay. So like you, passively aware of Iron Man, Paranoid. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just aware of it. Like I don't ever remember the first time hearing that. I just feel like I was birthed into existence with it.
Yep.
First album, Nativity in Black cover album, was the first time I was exposed to more than those 2 songs. So I got that first.
Okay.
And the reason I got it was the Typo Negative song, the Typo Negative cover of NIB. And consequently, all the other songs, was in high repeat early on for me, which I think that came out in what, 90, 91?
91 maybe, yeah. Early 90s.
Early 90s. So I was late to the Black Sabbath train. In fact, I remember you buying Dehumanizer when we were shopping at Peaches together.
92.
That was another core memory that I had, and me not knowing the Dio connection, and I was like, what is this? I don't understand what I'm listening to. I was indifferent at the time, but so I'm obviously I've gone back and listened to a lot of Sabbath, Ozzy Year Sabbath, and Dio Year Sabbath. Okay, so my picks are Black Sabbath, and then I'm cheating by choosing the Heaven and Hell album, not the Dio one, but also the Dio one. the last one,
The Devil You Know.
The Devil You Know.
Which I think that most of the Sabbath community would grandfather that in as a Sabbath record.
Yeah, I definitely am.
Yeah.
Right. So starting with Black Sabbath, I love this album. This is a love album, which how could you not?
What did you love about it?
I love that it's got one foot in where I think metal is. Like you can hear when you listen to NIB and you listen to Black Sabbath especially, those could be released today on a Doom album or something. They still sound relevant's not the right word. They sound timeless as it relates to Doom that is invented, I think, from this and beyond this and through this, gives us Doom. And then there's some weird ass 60s shit in here.
Yep.
And that is also a mainstay to the other foot being from that time zone. So you get both things to me, which is what I like most about it. Namely, the tracks that have got multiple songs, it's just a weird setup. And there's multiple times in which I think to myself, I think it's like it doesn't. It's almost like, hey, here's a little jam session, and we're just going to throw that in. And by the way, we're going to call that WASP. You know, it's just a little thing here, or basically, you know, it's just like a little tiddly bit bass solo, you know. And those little moments to me are end bookcases, end bookshelf. What's the thing when you put an end?
Bookcases?
But
bookends.
Bookends. Those are bookends to me to the songs that I think have longevity. So I think two things. The production is pretty good. It still suffers from that, oh my God, we just had stereo for 5 years and I'm going to hard pan this over here. I'm going to hard pan that over here. And when you're listening to on headphones, it's very disorienting.
Recorded in 2 days.
True. There's some guitar work where it's just Tony playing licks that are not fun to listen to and with headphones. Like it is like bugs picking in your ears. Like it's little crickets chirping because he's high up on the neck and he's doing a little solo and it just sounds hideous to me from a production standpoint. Musically, it's fine. I'm just saying, like, God, this hurts to listen to.
Where was Rick Rubin?
Where was Rick Rubin? No, that's the opposite. We don't want that. No, that's bad. So again, that affection, I don't know when I like picked this up as an album to listen to post early 90s. I know that I did. And you really could have picked the second album, I think, easily as how do I say it? What's the word? As the defining moment, you know, this one or that one, I think is a toss up to me. They are still different, but
they're very different.
They're very different records. But to me, it's the Black Sabbath song is still, when you put it on and you've got the lights right, it's creepy as shit.
Yeah.
It's just fucking creepy.
I don't remember exactly when. I know it was on cassette when I first picked up the first record. But yeah, like when the rain and the church bells.
Yes.
And, you know, the devil's tritone that opens it up. It's like, whoa, you know, even, you know, as a jaded, you know, seeing Devils and Demons on the thrash and death metal records, like, it's like, this was kind of some spooky shit for 1970.
Spooky. Yeah.
I would highly encourage anybody that has not done so to read Geezer Butler's autobiography, Into the Void. Beyond being a fantastic read, Geezer is probably the most articulate and has the best memory of anybody in the Sabbath camp.
Not Ozzy?
No. Surprisingly, his is a very quick read and light on the facts. But there's a lot of good stuff on the early days of Sabbath and how some of those songs came together and how those little, you know, the basically in the sleeping village and just all those little kind of interludes came together, and it you know, in hindsight, it provides a lot of color and context to what became that finished product. And just there were 4 kids, you know, that, you know, somebody said, hey, okay, we'll let you make a record. Yeah. And you know, they had 2 days to put it together, had no real studio experience. They had one demo before that. And like Wicked World was an addition because they needed to have some sort of cover that I think that was the cover. I'm speaking out of term, but to make it like more mass appeal.
Yeah.
But it's a great read and a lot of preface to what became that first album. But yeah, it's definitely, you know, you put a lot of Sabbath fans will, you know, talk about the first 4 Sabbath albums because that's really kind of like the evolution. You know, there's Sabbath, there's Paranoid, both of which happened in 1970. There's Master of Reality and Volume 4 between 71 and 72. And then there's a bit more experimentation as you go into Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath and Sabotage and beyond. Yeah. All of which I am about it, but like there's a real continuity, there's a real story arc in those first 4 records, and like the dry, basic, just foundation of that first record, like there's some great songs in there. They're not my favorite Sabbath songs.
Yeah,
like I've listened to, as much as I love Black Sabbath, the song, like I'm okay if I only hear that every once in a while at this point.
Yeah.
There's better stuff in those early years that I'd much rather put that time into Hand of Doom or Wheels of Confusion or something, just because there's so much more depth, just in the span of like from 70 to 72, just that punctuated evolution of the band is just so profound. But like that's where it all started. Like there was like heavy rock, and like you can argue Blue Cheer and Steppenwolf and that were heavier rock, but like that moment in 1970 is the starting point of the map, and I'll fight anybody in a dark alley that says otherwise.
I definitely think the creepiness or the occult or the symbolism being used,
just the cover.
I mean, I know it's creepy. It's creepy. That
you can create a vibe just with a blurry photo of some witchy woman in front of an old dilapidated structure. Like, what's happening there?
She's
probably nothing good.
No good.
Probably nothing good.
Yeah,
but I bet it sounds cool.
It does sound cool. Okay,
what's your favorite song on that album?
So,
what's your favorite? What's your least favorite?
Ooh, I'm not prepared for least favorite. I'd have to think about that one. Actually, I don't mind any song on here. This to me is a pleasant listening experience, except for the headphones with the little guitar twirly part. That being said, my affection for NIB from Typo Negative highly influences my view of that song, because it's like they took the Black Sabbath song and then we're going to make this 10 times creepier, but we're going to do NIB.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember that song, but it's that slow plodding, like single note on the piano.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. I should have queued that up, but it's good. So I think Black Sabbath is a better song, but NIB is probably where my heart sits. These are all good. I don't mind this out. I can listen to anything on this album. This doesn't bother me in the slightest. It's a great album. Now, it's also, I think, culturally more important than it is that I like it. You know what I'm saying? It's not on this is not on my top 10. It's probably not even in my top 100. That was a big jump. It's probably in my top 100. It's not in my top 10 at all. Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath. You go.
We are going to fast forward to 1986.
So we're skipping Dio.
I am.
You are.
Yeah, because you know what? It's been talked about.
Yeah.
So like my first real personal introduction to Black Sabbath was in 1988. And I wrote about this. Also, like, there's some fabulous blog posts. I don't know who this guy is that's writing this, but man, he is a fucking wordsmith.
I chuckle when I read it out loud.
But yeah, so I knew like in the mid late 80s, like Ozzy was everything. He was everywhere. It was the Ozzy Osbourne everything. Sabbath was a footnote. Nobody gave a shit about Sabbath to the point that in the early 90s, bands were putting, like, Sabbath wasn't doing, like, even though they were technically a thing, like, there were tribute albums playing these songs because nobody was really, actively pushing for Black Sabbath. And that then kind of pushed, a whole new generation of folks that weren't familiar with the music to go explore that. And here we are. But watching the Headless Cross video on MTV's Headbangers Ball on a random Saturday night, it was like, this is dark. It's heavy. These guys are clearly older, right? But man, like, this is really slick, heavy, dark stuff. They're singing about druids or whatever the fuck, and the video is spooky, and they're out and
big hair,
great mustaches. And then come to find out, oh shit, that's Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Okay. I got the Headless Cross album, and like I bought Headless Cross and Paranoid in the same day.
You have a copy of it right there?
I do have.
Let me see.
Well, not Headless Cross. Sorry. We're not talking about Headless Cross, but that was the catalyst that propelled a love affair with Black Sabbath that is still very much active today. Like
that's where your affection is.
I am at a Coldplay concert with my arms around Black Sabbath on the jumbotron,
and don't hide.
Except I am not hiding. But yeah, so like I fell in love with Sabbath during the Tony Martin years, which were, very lean on content and popularity. And then from there kind of worked backwards and forwards through the whole Sabbath story. So I bought Headless Cross and Paranoid in the same day. So I kind of got past and present. And I was like, oh yeah, this is the band that Ozzy Osbourne's band. And it's also this band that's putting out songs like When Death Calls and Devil and Daughter. Great. And then, just as, again, this is all pre-internet. So like I'm kind of just doing this homework from word of mouth and what I can find in magazines and old long hairs at the secondhand record store. And then stumble into my local Albertsons grocery store in Altamont Springs, Florida. And at the time that Albertsons had a cutout record bin where for $6 you could buy everything from Motley Crue, the Eagles, Twisted Sister, and
were they hole punched?
Yeah. And this album that I'm going to talk about now, Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi, Seventh Star. I had no idea that this album existed. I had not heard about it in any of the Sabbath research. By this time, I was very well versed in the Ozzy and the Dio stuff. I was pretty up to speed on where Tony Martin was. I had no idea what this record was, but it said Black Sabbath on it. It had a very sad-looking Tony Iommi on the cover. So I brought it home, put it on the turntable, gave it a couple listens, and was like, this is weird, and promptly didn't come back to it for probably 10 years. And then just as my love for Sabbath and the weirdness of this hundreds of people have passed through the doors of the Sabbath lineup. That's a hyperbole, but like Tony Iommi did everything he could to keep the Sabbath name alive when no one else in the known universe really cared about it.
Yeah.
Come to find out, this record was supposed to be a Tony Iommi solo record. By that time, so end of spring of 1984, the Born Again tour is over. Ian Gillan, who's fronted the band at that point, goes back to reform Deep Purple. They go do the Fantastic Perfect Strangers reunion. Tony doesn't have a band. Geezer leaves, Bill Ward leaves, and he's like, you know what? I'm just going to start writing my own songs and put together a Tony Iommi record. So he gets Eric Singer, who was drumming for Lita Ford's band at the time, who was also Tony Iommi's fiance at the time, Lita Ford. Yeah. Really. Dave the Beast Spitz on bass guitar, who is the brother to Dan Spitz, former lead guitarist for Anthrax. Jeff Nichols, who had been a longtime keyboardist for the band, officially is elevated to a full-time member of the band, not just a footnote as keyboardist. And Glenn Hughes, who had been a trapeze and did an amazing work with Deep Purple, comes in to sing on this record. There's some great history about some other vocalists that he had tried out, and there's some demos with Jeff Fennell, called The Star of India, which are different versions of the songs that ended up on Seventh Star. But album is recorded. It's going to be a Tony Iommi solo album. Warner Brothers says, nah, this needs to be a Black Sabbath record. We need to put the Black Sabbath label on this because nobody's going to buy this if it doesn't say Black Sabbath on it. Tony Iommi's like, but it's not a Black Sabbath record. It's a Tony Iommi's got primary credits on lyrics and music, which predominantly it's either been Geezer, Ozzy, Dio, Tony Martin. That's on the lyrics. This is really his passion project. And they're like, nah, dude. This is a Sabbath record. So he's like, okay, okay. So this is now Black Sabbath's 12th official studio album called The Seventh Star with this very random lineup, and now we've got to go tour to support it as Black Sabbath. There are some great songs on this record. The opening track, In for the Kill, Glenn Hughes still to this day has an amazing set of pipes. Like he like is, I would put him up against Robert Plant. I would put him up against Steven Tyler. He's got a very bluesy background, very soulful. So it's a different type of vocal characteristic than you're used to hearing on Sabbath. And that's kind of the first jolt. The songs are a little bit more AOR hard rock. There's some bluesy stuff towards the end of it. Heart Like a Wheel, Angry Heart. There's the infamous video that they shot, No Stranger to Love, which also features future Star Trek The Next Generation alum Tasha Yar. What's Denise Crosby
I had no idea.
as the female lead in that video.
Okay.
That was like her first big screen credit was in Sabbath's No Stranger to Love video. And Glenn Hughes had this giant bouffant of a mullet that was just like, fuck, man, that's just that's there. That's like that caught your attention just as much as his vocals did. But it's a great hard rock record. It's a terrible Black Sabbath record.
And maybe this is a good time to talk about it because I listened to it first time intentionally because of this, and not Black Sabbath to me.
It's not.
Now, I have no idea what makes Black Sabbath because the lineup has been shifting, and there are records that are not Black Sabbath that feel Black Sabbath to me. Heaven and Hell, Devil You Know. As an example, Dio feels Black Sabbath-y to me. That album, I didn't mind it. You know, I actually liked a lot of it.
There are some great songs on this. So,
but if I had heard that without you telling me what it was, I would never have guessed.
Yep,
that is a Tony Iommi written Black Sabbath branded album.
It's a great hard rock record. Yeah. It is a terrible Black Sabbath record. Yeah. That said, like there are songs that are very catchy. So Angry Heart. Angry. I'm doing a terrible Glenn Hughes version, but like I'll sing, like I'll pipe this up in the car and sing along to it, and it's great. No Stranger to Love. I was watching some a YouTube very poorly recorded YouTube performance like 15 years ago where Glenn Hughes was singing this with his solo band. It's a good song. Yeah. It's not a good Black Sabbath song. Yeah. But like if you take the time to go a level deeper and understand that this was never supposed to be, like it was written with intention not to be a Black Sabbath record, and then just kind of got the sticker slapped on after the fact.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
It's just a weird phenomenon that we, by we, I think the metal community, we put Iommi on this pedestal that says Iommi is Black Sabbath. Like Iommi doesn't exist on his own. Does he have a solo album?
He actually has several. So he's got a record that he did just called Iommi that featured a bunch of other guests. So Billy Corgan, Phil Anselmo, a bunch of other people that I'm forgetting. But Henry Rollins had this. It was all songs that Iommi wrote that were Sabbath-like, but were just songs that he wrote that were not for Sabbath. And then he did, there was actually a record called the DEP Sessions that was released that he had recorded with a bunch of songs that he had recorded with Glenn Hughes that, again, were not supposed to be Black Sabbath, that were just him and Glenn putting songs together. And then there was the Fused record, which was properly released, Iommi and Glenn Hughes, completely new set of songs. Guess what? They sound a lot like the Seventh Star.
Yeah.
They've got kind of that same kind of bluesy kind of hard rock background as do the Seventh Star. It sounds Black Sabbath adjacent because it's Tony Iommi and that's his guitar tone and it's always going to be. But none of those albums sound like Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
But Seventh Star has kind of like that tangential kind of tether to those later solo records because that's really this was not supposed to be Sabbath proper. Now, even more interesting than the album itself is all the shenanigans that happened after that, because now it's a Black Sabbath record. Now it's an expectation that Tony's got to go on tour and promote this as a Black Sabbath record. So they go on tour with this lineup that he's put together, and they start doing these songs from the Seventh Star. No, but they're selling to middling crowds in the U.S., Glenn Hughes is overweight and he's into recreation and things, and he's not a great performer, which sucks because Glenn Hughes he's amazing when he's not on the stuff and he's on fighting weight. They do like 5 dates in the US, terrible reviews. The set list is very heavily in the 7th Star and the Dio years. There's like Ozzy materials kind of peppered in just as obligatory, but it's heavier on the post Ozzy years. Glenn Hughes gets the boot. They pluck in Ray Gillen, who would later go into front Badlands, just literally out of nowhere because he was somebody knew somebody. So they said, "Hey, Ray Gillen, you're gonna finish this tour for Black Sabbath." Does the remainder of the U.S. tour does the European tour? There's no tour programs, so. There's a lot of the folks, if you kind of read some of the stuff, like there were folks that went to those shows that didn't know that wasn't Glenn Hughes.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Who's that? Who cares? Let's go.
In this reissue of the 7th Star, there are some live tracks from that tour with Ray performing songs like Danger Zone and 7th Star along with the obligatory Sabbath. It's a good show.
Yeah.
It's weird because, you know, the Ray Gillen has a weird history. He was there. He was supposed to be the singer for the next record. Then he wasn't. Enter Tony Martin. We'll get there later. But like it's just this weird, bizarre footnote in Sabbath history that was never supposed to happen. But if all of that hadn't have happened, we wouldn't have gotten to the album that eventually became the Headless Cross, which brought me into the fold. So
little young Aaron into the fold.
Right.
Let's do it. Oh, well, what's your next one, though?
The next record is 1994's Cross Purposes.
Okay.
So, again, Sabbath is rife with drama. Like, you can go and just kind of read the internet histories, and it's just as entertaining as the music because there's just so much rock and roll. I can't believe that this actually happened.
Is there a biography on Iommi? Did anybody write anything on
There's not. So, there's a great fan site. It's black-sabbath.com. And the guy that ran the site was a video game developer. He did like the last Duke Nukem game.
Okay.
He's I think he's based in the U.S., but like the trove of Sabbath history and minutia that he's collected in the timeline. Like I'd encourage anybody to go check out.
Yeah, we'll put it in the
site.
show notes. That's cool.
So Headless Cross comes out. They're directly competing with Ozzy. They do a few dates of a U.S. tour. Ozzy is intentionally hitting the same markets that Sabbath is touring on, so he can tap those out. So they have to cancel the U.S. tour. Album does great in Europe, right?
Okay.
Kind of gives them a second life. The songs on Headless Cross are great. There's like that's the album of the Tony Martin era. So if you want to call Paranoid, Heaven and Hell, Headless Cross for the three main Sabbath vocalists, like that's kind of the trifecta, right? They go on to do the Tear album. They don't tour the U.S. because they can't get to market. It's a strong record. They've got some international appeal. Shit, we're not selling records anymore. Hey, Ronnie, what are you doing? So they get back together with Dio for the Dehumanizer record in '92. Great record on its own. It's been widely discussed. They go on tour. They do the U.S. Ozzy says, I'm going to retire. I'm going to stop doing shows. So for my last show, I want Black Sabbath to open the show for me. Ronnie says, no. Black Sabbath shouldn't have to open for anybody. So those shows were also coincidentally, I think, like scheduled after the end of whatever his current contract with the band was. So he said, you know what? I'm out. I'm not opening for anybody. Black Sabbath shouldn't open it for anybody. So they're like, okay, what do you do? So Rob Halford comes in and they do those 2 shows or 1 to 2 shows opening for Ozzy on what was supposed to be his then farewell tour in 92, 93. So at that point, Black Sabbath doesn't have a singer anymore, but it's still Tony and Geezer. Was supposed to, again, be potentially a Tony Iommi solo record with Geezer contributing to that. Hey, Tony Martin, what have you been doing since the Tear album? And he's like,
nothing.
I've been doing some stuff, but hey, yeah, I'll front Sabbath again. So by this time, Sabbath has got some juice, right? Because they've got the Dehumanizer was a big record. It was back on a major label in the U.S. They toured the U.S. Dio was a known property at that point, and for better or for worse, the drama with the Ozzy shows kind of got them back in the vernacular. Yeah. Oh, Black Sabbath is a really good fucking band. So they reunite with Tony Martin, bring in Bobby Rondinelli, who was doing drums, I think, for Quiet Riot at the time.
Okay.
To fill out the band. Jeff Nichols on keyboards is still a full-time member of the band. And they put together the album that would become Cross Purposes.
It's a good album cover art.
This album, so Headless Cross gets all the love. Tears a strong album. Forbidden gets a lot of attention because it's not a great album. Cross Purposes rarely gets a mention. And again, it's not a fantastic record. It's not a fantastic Sabbath record. It's got Geezer Butler in it, so it's a little bit more. There's a little bit more validity to it. But this was the first album.
Why is it sticky?
Because that's the original CD cover from 1994. Here's the reissue. Oh well. I told you I love Sabbath. Yeah, I really love Black Sabbath. But
put this away.
The Cross Purposes tour was the first non-Ozzy Dio tour that they were able to fully tour the United States, which hadn't happened since 1986 when they toured for the Seventh Star. That was my first live experience with Tony Iommi. I wrote about it online. They played the Edge in Jacksonville, which was this tiny tuna can of a nightclub where like all the alternative and metal bands were playing. Black fucking Sabbath is playing at this venue.
Yeah.
And like I'm as close to a Tony Iommi as I am to you.
Yeah.
And again, like there's a decent amount of filler on the record. I'll give you that. But songs like Cross of Thorns, I Witnessed the opening track, Hand That Rocks the Cradle, there's some really good.
I actually didn't listen to that.
There are some really good songs, 4 or 5 really good songs that make up for the balance that are kind of passable.
Yeah.
There was a live video and a live CD that came out in companion with the tour to kind of give it a little bit more juice. And then Geezer left the band again and they had to kind of regroup and they did the Forbidden album and there's a whole drama about that. But like this, there's a special place for this record for me because it was my first live Sabbath experience and it was so uniquely intimate.
Yeah.
But in the songs, there are some great songs in this. Cross of Thorns, I would put up against like Die Young or some of the, I don't know, like the Paranoid records. But there are songs on this that are as good as some of the better.
What do you like about those? Like, what is it that tickles you? Riffage or
the melodies?
The
I've always had, again, my first exposure to Sabbath with Tony Martin years. I've always had a soft spot for his vocal delivery. He's not a wailer like Ian Gillan or Glenn Hughes, but he's got a very powerful kind of
power metal without hitting the
yeah. But he can hit those notes, or at least he used to when this record came out. But there's just like a real maturity to the songs. They're slick, they're intentionally polished, mature heavy metal songs. Yeah. And like they did a video for The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, and it's just like this almost like a power ballad, like a dark power ballad, but like I can remember trying to learn the riffs for that song in my bedroom and just trying to play along with it. But there's a maturity in these Tony Martin years that I was missing from so much of the other metal music that I was listening to at the time.
Interesting.
Which I
juxtapose it from. What were you listening to at that?
So like a lot of the death metal stuff that we were talking about last time, and like it was all denim and spikes and devils and demons and long hair and just how outrageous you could be.
So you're listening to Morbid Angel and that at the same time.
Morbid Angel opened this tour.
I read your blog post,
but yeah. So like So you had these guys from Tampa.
How in the world did that fit? Like how? Because even sitting here now, I don't see the connection. To me, that's like I won't be able to do this off the top of my head. It's just apples and oranges. Trey and Morbid Angel and the Cross Purposes.
That tour was Morbid Angel, Motorhead, and Black Sabbath.
Huh. I wonder who the draw was. Like who was the actual draw?
Whoever booked that tour, whoever the booker was a fucking genius.
They were snorting cocaine.
Like if you look at my CD collection, like I am the target audience for that show because you know what? At that time, Jesus, what was that Morbid Angel?
Let's give our listeners
Covenant.
Let's give our listeners a juxtaposition between a Morbid Angel riff and
play Rapture from the Covenant record. So Morbid Angel was on the come up when this tour was out. Covenant was the first death metal album to be released on a major label. They were getting all kinds of energy, so why not have them open this tour for Black Sabbath?
So this is this is Trey Asgoff. This is the opening.
Which great fucking song.
We got it. Vocals kick in. It's a little bit, isn't it?
Pete Sandoval on drums, man. That guy is a machine.
Okay.
Wait for it. Almost there.
We're almost here.
Confront me. Stir and say, score to the yard. I summon thee. More than thee. More than the will.
All right.
Under my soul.
So that's your opener.
Yep.
And then you've got what
play Cross of Thorns.
Where's the Yeah. Okay. See, I don't know where it's going yet.
Don't come closer.
It's not where I thought.
Cause it ain't safe here. Just turn around.
I feel a little weird with you singing to me.
Walk away. I gotta tell you, there are no rules here.
Is there a riff that comes in here?
Sometimes I wonder what goes on there.
Okay.
Behind those eyes.
All right.
And no one trusts you. And no one's crying with their head to their head.
That's power. That's power metal, man. I mean,
it's about the violence in Northern Ireland at the time.
Yeah. Two different worlds there.
Two very different worlds. But like at that age, at that time, man,
you were into both.
Those were records that I was spinning. So this was like the best of both worlds for a dumb kid like me.
Who headlined that? Black Sabbath?
Yeah.
It started with Morbid Angel opened.
Motorhead
Motorhead
came in. And which Motorhead came in, they opened with Ace of Spades. It's like, fuck it, let's go.
Right.
Let's get this out of the way.
Right. I'm sure. Wow. Yeah, that had been a good show. That was probably a good show.
You know, so like that album, that tour, you know, that was very early in my concert going, you know, I played that record a lot, less so now. And then like over the years, it wasn't until last year, I think, that the Tony Martin records outside of Eternal Idol were available on streaming services because of the rights with the record label at the time. But Tony's been working on, had been working on getting these albums remastered and the rights back. And then now they're on Spotify again and Apple Music, and they reissued a box set, and they're going to do a new version of the Eternal Idol with some bonus stuff this week, I think. Comes out.
That's cool.
So there's all just like Nativity in Black kind of opened up a portal for newer fans to kind of go back and listen to that history. This addition to the stream platforms and the reissues and the box sets are now kind of giving some legitimacy to records like Cross Purposes that, again, may not be in anybody's top 10 in the Sabbath canon, but are still solid records on their own with some really good songs that, you know, deserve a listen.
Yeah. I actually didn't listen to that in prep for this week, so that's bad on me. But I'm going to go back to that. I know Tear, not really well, but I know Tear more than the...
Tear was the first album that I bought on compact disc.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mine was Metallica Kill 'Em All.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which that's a great record. Did good, solid business in Europe. Nobody gave two shits about it anywhere else.
It's got a vibe. I dig it.
It's a strong heavy metal record.
Yeah.
Again, does it sit in the top 10 of anybody's Sabbath canon? Probably not. But man, songs like the Sabbath Songs or the Lawmaker.
Yeah.
I'm about it.
I think you've done a good job of highlighting some Sabbath stuff and history and music that we normally I would never have. You wouldn't have made it on my radar.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I'll thank you for that. And I think to end, we would properly to talk about Sabbath, Heaven and Hell, The Devil You Know,
Blue skies.
I'm telling you,
between.
This album is so good. I just cannot get over how good it is. Now, I knew of Dio from Holy Diver.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wrote about this slightly. Well, no, I didn't. I mentioned it on a blog post on my normal blog. I grew up in rural Missouri, and we would have the county fair, and was the big to do. Or like my hometown had just a main street, one crossroad, single light. Probably didn't even have lights, just a 4-way stop. And in that, they would do the cow pie bingo. You know what I'm talking about? Where they paint a grid and the 4-way stop, and the cow's in the thing, and you bet on where it's going to poop.
I am not aware of this phenomenon.
Okay. Cow pie bingo.
Okay.
So you buy raffle tickets on all square 25, during the night, the cow's going to take a dump on square 25. And there's rules if it's half on 25, half on 24, all that stuff. That's the kind of Midwest thing I would grow up and experience. And there would be the carnies that pull these very unsafe rides and haphazardly put them together and put us all, these little kids, in danger. And they're blaring Dio. They're blaring this music. It is hair metal, all the best stuff that you can think of. Mm-hmm. And I just remember doing, right next to where you could buy ninja stars and butterfly knives and nunchucks, you could throw darts and get as a prize these carnival glass in cardboard sleeves. And on it was a screen printing of albums.
I remember those.
And my first one that I got was the cover of Holy Diver. May have been the last in line. It was one of those two. Because of the devil on the cover, like, oh, that's so sinister and evil. I want that, So I had been listening to Dio, and because of my affection for Dio, when I think of Black Sabbath without Ozzy, I think of Dio. Mm-hmm. And the Dio records that we're not talking about, Solid Records, Dehumanizer, Mob Rules, those are, they got classics. Signs of the Southern Cross, amazing track. And all the drama that you laid out that culminated into this reunion, whatever you want to call this. Now this has got a piece on it, right? Vinny Appice is the
Appice.
Appice is the drummer,
but he's a piece.
He's a piece. He's a piece. To me, this is the pinnacle of everything that Sabbath is. Mm-hmm. The album art. I shouldn't be. Don't look at this. You shouldn't look at this. It's creepy. You're going to burn in hell just by looking at that album art. It's that creepy. It's also like Doom. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is the quintessential Doom song, which I've got a pocket full of them, but one of them is Paradise Lost's Beneath Broken Ground. I think that's the name of it, which is the doomiest Doom song you could ever think of. Mm-hmm. This album, it is right in line with it to me. Mm-hmm. Bible Black. Oh my gosh. Now we've got that acoustic opening that we just played, but I think this hits different when it gets going. Mm-hmm. I think this takes a while to get going. This feels like Black Sabbath already.
It does. It feels like Dio era Black Sabbath.
It feels like Dio era. Come on now. Come on now. What a voice. He was a little he's normally very vibrato heavy. Mm-hmm. He was hamming it up on this record, I noticed. And sitting down and listening to it, the vibrato was... Oh.
I can't not sing along.
I know.
Something that he knows is never.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait for it.
It's so good.
Here it comes.
Don't go on, put it back. You're reading from the Bible Black.
That is fucking quintessential Ronnie James Dio.
I mean,
I got the goosebumps
so
from that.
Good.
I love this record. I have a hard time coming back to it because this was like the end of Ronnie's career.
I cried so much when I watched his documentary.
Oh my God. I don't know how you can't.
I watched it twice. I cried both times.
So in the mid 80s, Ronnie James Dio was my first concert. The Lock Up the Wolves tour. At that time,
it's my favorite album of theirs.
It's a great record. Again, a very underrated record in the
so
Dio
good.
canon.
18 years old, Rowan was 18.
Yeah.
He was 17 or 16 when they found him. And I think at release or when they toured, he was 18.
Yeah. But like at that time, like just like Heaven and Hell isn't a Dio song. Oh, that he was in Black Sabbath. But like at the time, like Rainbow in the Dark, Last in Line, like Ronnie James Dio was a superstar.
Yeah.
You know, he was an Ozzy level, but he was pretty goddamn big on his own, right?
Yeah.
So I knew, like, I learned all those Dio records before I even knew that I saw him on the back of the Heaven and Hell record in the caricature. I was like, oh, he was singing for Black Sabbath. That's awesome. And then that opened up into Rainbow and Elf. But the whole, again, the drama has plagued Sabbath since the inception. Like the whole reason that the Heaven and Hell lineup came back together was because they couldn't get Ozzy to commit to a full proper reunion, right?
Yeah.
So they toured, they did Ozfest, they did the reunion live album. Ozzy was still too big for, you know, with his own stuff and didn't want to do it, whatever. So you know what? Hey, we're still getting along. Let's, you know, Chance, they were releasing the Dio Years best of compilation. And Tony said, hey, let's write some new songs just for giggles. Really great stuff. Devil Cried, You're in the Shadow of the Wind. Talk about an amazing vocal performance. Realized, hey, we're all old men. Just much like the closure that Back to the Beginning gave to, you know, with bringing back Bill Ward. Like this was a great way, even though it ended very prematurely. Like it was a great way to say, hey, we actually still like each other. Life is short. Let's make a really kick-ass heavy metal record. So
good,
you know, and. You know, I saw them on this tour.
Did you really? I did not know that.
Yeah. Amazing. And it's like up until the day he died, like Ronnie's voice
never went.
He never let in that he was not 100%. But like his vocal performance on this, I think, is arguably, if not the strongest of his career, but pretty doggone close.
Here's the thing. It's almost impossible to actually talk about these albums in a review sense without some level of bias or history or affection or all the other things that would make it to where you can't, you know, clinically talk about an album from a review perspective. You can't go in blind. You've heard all of this stuff. It's part of our DNA. I don't know what else to say about this album, but if it's something you've never heard and you like heavy metal, like, it's top tier stuff.
There is a lyric in the opening track. So you're talking about the guitars. So like that, the opening Adam and Evil is just boom, right? Like it's just so strong. God, it's a little down tuned because they're all older.
What was my,
but there's a lyric in that song that still makes me a little teary every time I hear it. And it's part of it's the lyrics, part of it's Ronnie's delivery. But he says, falling is easy, rising will never be. So we will rise together. God damn it. If that isn't, if that isn't the encapsulation of what Ronnie James Dio had been preaching about for his entire career,
his entire life,
we are going to rise together. And there's another reprise that we must rise together because we together are bigger than the individual sum of the parts. And like, it's like, I don't know why I gravitate towards that lyric, but like, it's just, that is what the that is what heavy metal has given all of us. It
goes back to that back at the beginning in as much as we come together and there's this wonderful benefit that comes out of it. And he's literally speaking of that, making a better impact in the world.
Right.
And he's appropriately saying it in a way that only Ronnie could.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great callback.
Yeah. I did that on purpose because I'm a professional. My listening notes on that Adam and Evil, big drum fill intro, capital letters, sounds massive. The riff is pure doom.
Mm-hmm.
And
sounds like an epic trek to Mount Doom and Mordor.
it is. Yeah, I'm telling you, people, just stream it, listen to it. It's amazing. You really can't say enough about Black Sabbath. At the end of the day, it is a quintessential to anybody that likes this kind of music. It's impacted Ozzy and the team and Iommi. All of them have impacted. There isn't a band today in the metal genre that would not list Black Sabbath as an influence.
No.
It's just, it is part of our DNA.
And the beautiful thing about Black Sabbath is with a career 55 years, almost 60, rounding up, like there is something in there for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, if you want the more straight ahead heavy metal, Ronnie James Dio's got it for you. If you want a little bit more rhythm and blues, a little more boogie interstep, those first couple records, man, like Bill Ward's a jazz drummer.
Yeah, for sure.
Know, if you just want some straight ahead late 90s, late 80s hard rock heavy metal.
Yeah.
Tony Martin had, he balding early, but man, he there's some slick tunes in there.
Yeah.
So, just if it's even when it's not great,
okay,
it's still pretty damn good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good way to sum it up. My last question for Black Sabbath is to you. What makes Black Sabbath Black Sabbath?
Tony Iommi.
I think that's a solid answer. I've wrestled with that a lot. Like, is it Ozzy and Iommi? Is it Dio and Iommi?
Well, you think about it. So
he didn't write a lot.
He was the foundation for the music.
Yeah.
So Seventh Star aside, there were moments where the only person that really cared about Black Sabbath and the existence of Black Sabbath and the continuation of Black Sabbath was Tony Iommi.
Ah, that is the answer. He kept the flame alive. And even if it was for his own, stubborn persistence and, keeping the show going until we hit greener fields, that's fine. But you know what? He started it. He ended it. He has been the single constant in almost 60 years of that band's life cycle. And, as much as I love Bill Ward, as much as I love Geezer Butler, as much as every other vocalist that stepped into the front of the microphone for that band, Tony's the glue. Yeah, I have to stand corrected because I thought when I read the liner notes on this that his name was omitted for writing, but it's not. It's literally the first word. I don't know how I missed that. When I was looking at it, I thought, he didn't write any of this. That's funny. So...
He's got a great autobiography too, Iron Man. Not as good as Geezer's, but it's, if you want to learn about just their own individual upbringings and just the shit that they went through as just poverty-stricken kids that came together with music as an outlet and created this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Job well done. We had secret picks.
We did.
You want to talk about yours first?
Yeah, man. Talk about a curveball.
What'd you think?
So the album that we're referring to is Meshell Ndegeocello's.
And I forgot to actually say it in the first episode what the name of the album is.
No More Water, The Gospel
Water.
of James Baldwin, released 2024 on Blue Note Records, which is traditionally a jazz record. And let me preface this by saying that I enjoy jazz music. So I get down with some Coltrane and some Miles and some stuff. I was listening to some Afro jazz in the car on the way here. This was a...
How did you listen to it? Did you sit down and listen to the whole thing, or did you do it in pieces?
I listened to it once. So it's basically an hour and a half.
Yeah,
so I listened to it once, start to finish.
Okay.
And then came back over the last few weeks, kind of in chunks and kind of revisiting it just to kind of keep my thoughts fresh. So it's a challenge. It's a tough record, and not because of the music. We'll get there, but
Jesus Christ.
The creative inspiration that drove the record. Look, as a parent, grandparent to mixed race children.
Yeah. Hit me.
I have those same fears every day.
You're going to make me cry because I have all this, because I also have mixed children and I also know what that album's about. And,
it's tough to hear the fears that are, and just the concern about not even just the violence, but just the world that we're leaving for our kids, and just how fucked up things are and can be. But just hearing that come out so articulately and so powerfully at me. Yeah. And having to confront those, it's like, man, I didn't sign up for this, man. Come on. But separating from that, like it's, I liked it. Yeah. I think you definitely could have trimmed about 25% of that record out and not missed any of the impact. The opening song, Travel. So when she comes out and she's like, balance, buddy. I don't know why, but it makes me think of Zoolander.
I can see that.
I think of him, like I see him walking down the catwalk with that stupid fucking face with balance, buddy. And then it's like, okay. And then the organ gets in and it gets into this
nice build. It's
a nice little progressive groove. It's like, okay, that's kind of cool.
That's hysterical.
I like the spoken word stuff that Stacey mentioned, and like that's like I love some slam poetry like that. Like that's,
I mean, punch in the face.
Yeah, it's like going, like hearing it, and I went back and like I read the lyrics, the words separately, and then again with the music and lyrics, it's like, man, like this is a dissertation.
Yeah, it is good stuff.
And then like, God, what was it? Raise the Roof as the spoken word piece that goes into the price of the ticket, and what? God, fuck me.
Yeah,
like that. It's just, God, it just.
Did you happen to read the liner notes at all?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
That the inspiration is from the writings of
James Baldwin.
Yeah, as a gay pastor preacher, and the trials, and a black man.
Yep.
The trials that erupt from an intersection of cultures, worldviews, hatred, vitriol, the desire to be a thing that no one wants to exist. Oh, I can't even imagine the pain that is involved in. And I think
there's a lot of pain in the record.
There's a lot of pain in the record. So I really resonate with music that grabs you emotionally and doesn't let go. And it's usually not happy emotions that it's the darker ones that have therapeutic meaning to me. And this is just one of those records where when I listen to it, that record is metal as fuck to me, because it's raw.
Yep.
It is abrasive. There's parts where I wish I didn't actually hear it because I don't want to hear those things. And there's parts where it's beautiful and it draws me in. And I think, what an individual, what kind of person is it to inspire, that group, Meshell's group, to perform. And it's a performance. It's very, I don't want to say avant-garde because it's not avant-garde, but it's an experience, and you almost have to approach it from, I don't think it's recorded live, but I have a feeling that when you go see them live, you're gonna listen and experience that kind of live, and then you just happen to have a recording of it, So
that said, you say it was metal as fuck. Yeah, it is. You could translate those lyrics, or rather than that funky progressive jazz background, if you were to put like the Dead Kennedys behind them, as a backing band, or it's
pure punk.
Yeah, it's
pure punk.
It's pure punk.
Yeah,
right. It's pure, socially aware. Progressive punk rock.
Yeah, 100%.
You could still get that point across, and do it in a way that's like angry and upfront. And I think I would have been better with that.
Yeah, I appreciate what it is, for sure.
But that said, like having the musical backdrop the way that it was made me confront the subject matter a little more direct. There was less distraction to what the message was that was trying to be conveyed.
You didn't have, and this is what I'm putting words in your mouth. If it had been a Henry Rollins Weightless era release, right? We would have had affection to the music, and it would have softened us. I almost appreciate that I enjoy jazz adjacently. Like I enjoy it over here, not in front of me. I enjoy it tangentially. And because it wasn't something that was an easy pill to swallow, I really had to fight and wrestle with it. And I think if it had been delivered in a way where I was like, you know, I would be bebopping and it wouldn't even hit me. I wouldn't even known.
But, you know, at this point in my life, though, where I am on this exploration of music that I'm not aware of or comfortable with, or trying to open doors that I haven't already walked through, I knew who Meshell Ndegeocello was an artist, and I know that she's got a very robust career outside of that song that she did with John Cougar Mellencamp. I'm glad that this is on my radar. And, you know, much as we talked last time about the era, the streaming era, like once that album kind of lapsed, it like auto plays into other stuff, other artists that I wasn't familiar with. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty catchy too. That's good. Like I appreciate it for, if for nothing else than being a very thoughtfully curated collection of very intentional art. It's continued to open those doors that I've been looking forward to. Hey, you know what? This is pretty heavy, but this kind of has some music, some Sonic adjacent, but you know, it's, you know, go check this out.
Yeah, that's
cool. Go down this rabbit hole. And at this stage of my life, that's very exciting.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening to it.
Yeah, no, thank you. But man, as soon as I put, I put this on as I was leaving your house last week, and I was like, fucking Rob. Of course, this is the first one he's going to pitch me. Okay.
That's so funny. I can't wait till you listen to the first track of my secret.
Okay.
Should I give you the secret now, or should we talk about planning for burial?
Let's talk about planning for burial.
Okay, where's planning? Give me the thing. It's right there. So talk about heavy as fuck. Okay. I listened to this. You gave me listening instructions. You said, wait for a rainy day. And I think, rainy day? Yeah, you said, wait for a rainy day.
Gloomy.
That's what I was missing. Gloomy. I remember listening to Metallica's Death Magnetic. And I don't know if you've ever listened to that. It is fatiguing. It is hard to listen through. It is, it's a audible assault on your senses. Like it is ugly it's just terrible sounding. That's what it started off with me. And enter Glockenspiel. And these soft ringing bells. And I cannot tell you how weirdly emotional it was to hear this sound that I did not want to continue, juxtaposed with this bell, which at first I thought, what is that sound? It was like a heavenly sound. And I thought, my God, that is a fucking Glockenspiel. He's playing a goddamn Glockenspiel here. And I'm laughing to myself as I'm listening because it says Glockenspiel in the liner notes. And I thought, holy crap. Anyway, that moment moved me. Brilliant use of the textures of instruments and seeing it for something other than music. I wrote in my notes somewhere that this album is more emotion than music. And it delivers, it's as much music as needed to give you the emotional response. It's a bowl full of emotion with very little musical milk. In terms of, the melodies are dark, the riffs are dark, everything is dark, lyrics are dark. Lyrics are so dark. Now, even interesting when you're listening to it, there's a couple of tracks where the lyrics are inaudible. Like I could not understand what he's saying in the audio.
Yep.
But you're reading and you're like, boosh. Like, holy crap, that is heavy. And you can't help but put the two together. This is not the first album?
No.
Okay.
No.
So planning for burial below the house obviously rolls and makes a full sentence. And you think to yourself, what is he burying? What is buried underneath this house here? And then of course you're like, oh, there's he murdered his wife and she's buried in the house. But I don't even think saying that scratches the emotional surface of murdering someone and putting him in the below the house. It is darker than that.
Yeah.
It's deeper than that. It is it's the abyss. This guy is somehow channeled the abyss.
That's what. So this was not their most recent record. I think this came out maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. They just released a new record last month. It's called It's Closeness. It's easy. It's still heavy, but it's a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more ambient. But he's got work that predates Below the House that is more slow divey, a little bit more shoegazy, a little dreamy. There's definitely stuff that's as caustic as Below the House, but like that record from start to finish, it's a movement. Like
he's got 2 lines, well, like a stanza. This is the place I live, but it's not my home.
Mm-hmm.
This is the place I live. My roots don't grow. I think to myself, you could not sound, and of course you've got to listen to the experience as these lyrics when you're reading them. Is like, this man is barely alive. Like, I don't know what he's going through, but he has shedded it off, and this is the outcome.
Yeah,
in my opinion, I don't know if that's true or not, but like, what a catharsis something like this is.
Yeah, like if I will often listen to that record in a single sitting just because the continuity is so strong, and as dark and gloomy as that is, and like I feel better about myself
for sure
at the end of it,
for sure.
And it's like the last notes of the record are very kind of subtle bouncing, and he's like, my love, it's this like really ominous, soft beat, and it's like, whew, okay, that was something. I think I need a cigarette.
And I did. And I think I put on there, the Dull Knife Part 2 to me is the climax of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that Below the House, the last track, is the resolution of that narrative journey that he's putting forth. Which when I was listening, I thought the penultimate track was like, oh, that may have been the better ending. But I actually liked that there was a little bit of resolution for me to walk away from, and not like just,
and that's kind of common with
unlive myself,
particularly with the new record. It's like there's a peak about 60% of the way through of like song proper, and then there's 40% of exit interviews coda that fully form the last half of the album, but are just kind of like more just like you tucking in your shirt and getting comfortable with everything that just happened before it.
Right.
Did you watch any live performances? Did you do?
I did.
What'd you think?
We almost went.
And
I watched some, and I thought, there was an opportunity to go, and I was real close, and I forget why, but things came up.
Life came up. Same.
I would actually like to have seen his live performance.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
I saw him at Will's Pub.
Yeah.
He does like a tight 50 minute set, but it's him, a guitar, a microphone, a wall of amplifiers, and I'm assuming a laptop that he's got in his little briefcase.
Yeah.
But man, like it's just as caustic and emotional.
Yeah.
Just seeing him up front.
Yeah.
Just doing that. And as it is coming through your CD speakers, like it's like he's wrapping up this tour. This is like his first big national tour in a minute, because he's a working class stuff like the rest of us. But I highly recommend you guys check it out live on YouTube, or if you get a chance to see him
and just
live.
know that it's what it is in terms of it's an emotional journey to a darker place.
This is one of those records where I could say I have not heard that before.
Yeah, I would agree. And as silly as it sounds, when I say the Glockenspiel, the bells really do, I almost kind of didn't want to say anything, because it was such a visceral, when you're listening to it and you don't know to hear that, it really did like immediately change. I don't know. I just can't explain it, but hopefully I didn't ruin it for you, because now you're going to be like, let me hear that Glockenspiel. Anyway, that was actually a really good recommendation. I really enjoyed that.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay, so to wrap things up, we've got new picks for us to listen to for the next 2 weeks. You want to go first?
If you've heard, if you're familiar with this, I've got a backup.
Okay,
Astra, the Weirding.
Oh Jesus, no! Wow, that's cool looking.
It's on the Rise Above label from our friend Lee Dorian.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you anything about it. but it's great music to listen to when you're really fucking stoned.
Oh. How about when I'm not?
You could still appreciate it, but it's still a great record regardless. But
okay, I've never heard this.
It's I really enjoy it.
Is it typical of Rise Above Records?
I think it's in that vein. So I brought you something a little bit more comfortable than Planning for Burial, but
okay.
It's a long record, but it's good. And it's one of those types of bands where when I heard it the first time, however many moons ago, it was like, I've heard things that have these kind of intentions, but I haven't heard it quite put together like that.
My issue with Heavy Psych Records, Rise Above Records, $20 Spin is they have so many records that are B-, B.
Yep.
And so I just never know which one's going to rise up.
Which one's going to rise above?
You know, which one's going to rise above. So I'm glad that you're curating one for me to listen to. Because Rise Above's got some weird stuff.
Love their stuff.
Weird stuff. Honestly enough, weird stuff. Okay.
And the album's called The Weirding.
It is called The Weirding. Okay. Look forward to it. My surprise for you is I have a tri-pack, but I want you to listen to the first thing, okay? So don't listen to all three. That's not the point. The first one is, I may have told you about William Elliott Whitmore, but I don't know that you've ever listened to William Elliott Whitmore, who is from Iowa, and he's a Americana folk singer.
Okay.
It's typically him and a banjo and a kick drum.
Okay.
And that's it. Some variation of. His newer music is a little more filled in. There's a little more studio musicians that come in. But this first album is called Hymns for the Hopeless. And the first track is called Cold and Dead. And
I'm in.
And I want you to listen to Hymns for the Hopeless and call me the moment that Cold and Dead is over. Because I want to hear, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that song. I've seen him perform twice, one at Will's Pub, one at the Social.
I think you've tried to sell me on him before. I don't know that I've listened to it.
Okay.
But as you said,
it's the intro. You have to hear that song first, and then you'll understand everything else.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Because that's not his best album, but that's the one you should start with because it tells you, what's underneath, underneath all the other stuff that goes on. Because I actually have a better album that I think called Animals in the Dark is front to back amazing. And that is too, for that matter. But it's a more mature version of that with a little more different emotional landscapes than that. That is just bleak. That is... I can't wait. I almost want to put it on before you leave so I can watch you listen to it. In fact, that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
We're going to turn this mic off and go do that. Hey, go to the website, insertdiscpodcast.com and sign up, and you'll get notified of Aaron's wonderful posts and my listening notes, which are more like live tweets as I'm listening to each track when I do these reviews.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. It's just something to look at when you're listening, when I'm listening. I'll cut that out. I'll fix that out.
Leave it in.
I'll leave it in. Fuck it. What am I doing here? We're not professionals.
It's not like you're paying $4 for this.
True. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Have fun.
Stay heavy. Wear quality ear protection.